undoubtedly one of the most beautiful birds of the planet. And a native of the Indian subcontinent. The peacock hails from the pheasant family. Pheasants have prowled the planet for millions of years. A group of large birds, pheasants are characterized by strong male and female physical distinction. Male pheasants are typically highly ornate with bright colors and adornments such as wattles and long tails as compared to the females. For centuries, pheasants have been cherished for their color and their majestic presence. These beautiful pheasants are habitants of a bird sanctuary in Dhodial, Montserrat.
NWP Wildlife Department has been faced with a great challenge of conserving wildlife throughout the province. We started this pheasantry at Dhodial with an area of 2 acres, which has now expanded to over 20 acres. Started in 1984, by now has become the only place in the world with a big diversity of pheasants in captivity. We have 32 species of pheasants out of 52 species found throughout the world.
The pheasantry is the largest of its kind in Asia and is one of the topmost conservatories of the world, providing a unique selection of birds in captivity for breeding and research purposes. The peacocks, more appropriately called peafowls, are found in lowland forests and hills, usually in small groups consisting of 1 male and 2 or 3 peahens or females. Peacock is the most recognized of a pheasant species. Not many people know that a peacock is a pheasant as well. Now the thing about peacocks is that a peacock has probably the longest tail in terms of proportion of its body. The peacock unleashes its amorous weapon, his turquoise tail. Any other day, the peahen would have fallen for it. But this time, she's more interested in our camera. As the sun climbs the horizon, the staff of the pheasantry starts their daily ritual. These aviaries are under Ashraf's jurisdiction. He's worked here since its inception. I couldn't think of anyone better to introduce us to the pheasants. अच्छा, ये वाले क्या हैं?
ये वाइट क्रेस्टेड क्लीज, ये हमारा अपना लोकल है, सुबह सराद में पाया जाता है और ख़ासकर हमारे हज़ारा में इसकी अच्छी तादाद है। और यहाँ पे भी हमारे पास फिजेंट्री में इसके 10 जोड़े, और ये लोकल जुबान में इसे बनकुकड़ कहते हैं। बनकुकड़? बनकुकड़ जी।
इनके जो अंडे हैं वो तुम लोग इधर ही हैच करते हो?
हाँ, यहाँ पे इस तरह हो रहा है कि हम इनके डेली के अंडे डेली उठाते हैं, उठा के फिर ब्रूडी मुर्गियों के नीचे रख के उस तरफ बच्चे कराते हैं। हाँ। और फिर ये होता है कि इसके अलावा मतलब अगर ब्रूडी मुर्गियों की कुछ कमी हो तो हम इनक्यूबेटर में इनके अंडों से बच्चे कराते हैं, इनक्यूबेटर मशीन में रख के, वो भी हमारे पास अपनी है। बच्चे निकलने की तारीख 12/4। And another unique importance of this pheasantry is that we have the biggest flock of chilled pheasants in captivity. Now, chilled pheasant is a species which used to be found in Pakistan and had become extinct in 70s and 80s. So we are now reintroducing this bird And we have by now over 100 pairs in captivity. The chief pheasant flock which we have in captivity now is the largest flock in captivity in the world.
अल्लाह ताला ने परिंदों में और जानवरों में मेल को ज़्यादा खूबसूरती दी है। ये लेडी एमरेस्ट फेजेंट थी। बेसिकली ये चाइना का है और चाइना में ये बांस के जंगलात में पाया जाता है।
इसकी दुम का एक चीज़ पर पड़ा है।
हाँ, ये मेल की दुम का पार है जी।
Look at the size of this. Look at the size of this.
After the break,
ये अल्लाह ताला की एक ऐसी प्यारी मखलूक है कि मैंने अपने 20-25 साल की यहाँ सर्विस में गैर मुस्लिम लोग जो थे उनको मुसलमान होते हुए देखा है। क्यों जी, क्या परेशानी है? क्यों? तो फिर परिंदों का क्या होगा, हमारे जानवरों का क्या होगा?
We have been using Dhodial Peasantry for educating people and for promotion of pheasant culture or promotion of aviculture in captivity. Pheasants are very beautiful birds, and if you keep them in captivity, it creates love for wildlife in general.
the global socio-economic appeal of the pheasants is clear. But they're not just ordinary pretty birds. They're sacred, says Ashraf.
ये अल्लाह ताला की एक ऐसी प्यारी मखलूक है कि मैंने अपने 20-25 साल की यहाँ सर्विस में मतलब इस मखलूक के साथ मोहब्बत के उसमें आके बाद गैर मुस्लिम लोग जो थे उनको मुसलमान होते हुए देखा है और ये हकीकत है। ये फिजेंट्री जब से शुरू हुई है मैं उस वक्त से इसमें इधर ही काम कर रहा हूँ और इसकी मतलब उम्र मेरी सर्विस बराबर है।
While some of these birds shy away from man, others don't.
Okay, I am in the cage of a pheasant called the blue-eared. Now there are three different kinds of ears in the world. There are the blue-eared, which are these, then there are the brown ones, and then there are the white ones. And these are not shy, and these should eat ideally. As you can see,
Janu is a blue-eared pheasant and has been successfully bred at the pheasantry. It is found throughout mountain forests of central China.
as you can see, well, now they want a taste of me, which I can't really let them have.
Males and females are almost identical. The only differences are that usually only the male carries short spurs and he is slightly larger with somewhat stronger legs and rounder, more extensive red wattles on the sides of his face.
That was smart.
This exotic bird likes to experiment. It will nibble on anything. The shock from being attacked by a bird was too much.
Hey, the food, not me.
I remembered the young lad I met yesterday who lived on the outskirts of this sanctuary. Instinct taught the hen to safeguard her chicks, and the boy taught me how to befriend the bird. I still didn't trust my ability to make friends with these exotic creatures. As I chickened out, I decided to take a closer look at a more friendly pheasant, the Siamese firebag. species is also designated as the national bird of Thailand. The female is a brown bird with blackish wing and tail feathers. The Siamese fireback is distributed throughout the lowland and evergreen forests of Cambodia, Thailand and Vietnam in Southeast Asia.
3, 2, 1. This is the set-eyed tragopan.
Distributed in forests of northern South Asia from northeast India, northwest Vietnam, Tibet and northern provinces of China. Its diet consists mainly of berries, grass and plants. The NWFP Wildlife Department has formed a wildlife adventure club to educate the future generations about all natural resources. More than 20 public and private schools of District Mansehra are members of the Wildlife Club. The students learn about wildlife in captivity through Saeed Kamal, the Divisional Forest Officer. The youth leave with one thought firm in mind: how not to only be the predator, but also an environmentalist. Something we lack in our busy urban lives. Cloaked in a potpourri of colors, students of the neighboring Hazara University frequent the pheasantry, but they're not here to see the birds. After the break,
the authorities of the wildlife department and authorities of the university, they should be flexible enough.
The promise to God has been fulfilled.
It is a twist. Finish the pheasantry, to that we want to keep the pheasant.
the pheasantry has served as a bridge, bringing people together from different worlds on a common platform: the love of nature.
When I arrived in '94, I hadn't learnt any Urdu by then, of course, obviously. There were a couple of people who helped me out, the main one being Ashraf. Ashraf had taught himself English because he'd worked with a few foreigners before that, and so having someone to communicate with was not only useful practically, but also because, I mean, if you're in an area where no one speaks English, you get very lonely. So to have someone to speak English with, just to speak English and have him to say, yes, I understand, I know what you're saying. He may not understand it, but he knew what I was saying. Was a great help. He could solve any problem. So if you gave him any problem, so he was a mover and a shaker in the pheasantry.
As a child, Robert Whale was always surrounded by animals. His love for nature took him to places he could never imagine.
They indicate the health of a habitat, and different species indicate different habitats. For example, cheer pheasant is an indicator of the lower scrub, tropical scrub, upper tropical scrub, lower temperate forest, where these two meet, where it's grassy, bushy areas.
Here, the atmosphere is pregnant with mutual love, affection and respect for the birds. Captive breeding for cheer pheasant is a very difficult task.
It's only found in a very small part of the world, basically from Pakistan to Nepal, and it's all across its range. It's a vulnerable species.
The collaboration between NWFP Wildlife Department and the World Pheasant Association gave way to world's largest stock of cheer pheasants. However, not all birds are this reluctant to mate. Pappu, as they call him, is a lady emmer. The male has a metallic call in the breeding season and shows off its cape to entice the female. But some girls just don't give in.
Finish the pheasantry, To that we want to keep the pheasantry.
The sheer pheasant population gave pheasantry an unrivaled international distinction. It put Pakistan on the map. The Western Tragopan gave Robert Whale life.
मिस्टर रॉब वेल ने वेस्टर्न ट्रैगोपान की फ़िल्म की खातर खुदा ताला से सौदा किया, तो अल्लाह ताला ने उसे अपने फजल से नवाजा और रॉब वेल से रब नवाज कर दिया.
So in 1998 we were asked to film the Western Tragopan, which had never been filmed before, and as far as I know it hasn't been filmed since. So we took a Karachiite from Raza Bas up to Palace Valley, which then is Khorstan, and we set him up with a hide and a camera. And for 5 days the bird was coming very close. It was calling, it was looking at us, but we couldn't see it.
तो ये मतलब हमारी कोई 10-12 अफराद की सर्वे टीम जो पालस वैली गई थी, वहाँ जाके 1 हफ्ते तक हमने ट्रैगोपान की फ़िल्म के लिए कोशिश की, कोई किसी किस्म की कामयाबी हमें नहीं मिली.
So on the 6th day, really getting worried.
आखिर में ये हुआ कि इसने एक दिन शहरी के टाइम पे सुबह के वक्त में लोटे में पानी डाला है, लिया है और इसने जाके वुज़ू किया है. तो इसके साथ ही मतलब हमारा एक दूसरी टीम के साथ रब्ता होता था वायरलेस पे. तो इसके साथ जो बंदा वहाँ पे कोक छोड़ा हुआ था, खिंदा मलिक उसका नाम था, उसने मुझे वायरलेस पे कहा कि यार आज तो रब नवाज ने लोटा लिया है और जाके वुज़ू किया है और अभी वो एक दरख्त के साथ खड़ा है, हाथ बांधे हुए हैं और अल्लाह ताला से कुछ बातें कर रहा है.
I did a promise with God that if you show Raza Abbas this Tragopan, then I'll accept Islam.
तो फिर ये हुआ है कि मतलब थोड़े टाइम के बाद रज़ा अब्बास के सामने मतलब पेपर बोरुज का एक दरख्त था, उसके ऊपर ट्रैगोपान सामने हो गया.
The bird was below him and he could hear it but he couldn't see it. And after about 15 minutes he was sitting and he heard something calling behind him. And he looked around and there was this Western Tragopan just sitting right in front of him. Well, right behind him but in front of him. So he just turned the camera around and pressed record. So he got that. And it's a very, outstanding achievement. But because this bird is so shy, it's Tragopan's famous for being shy of people. So for this bird to actually come and show itself meant something to me. So it was a very personal experience. Which I would call a miracle, but other people they say it's coincidence, but to me it was too much coincidence to be. So then that promise to God had to be fulfilled, and after it took again 2 or 3 months to kind of build up the confidence to do it, but then I kept my promise.
इसके मुसलमान होने में सबसे ज़्यादा आज जो है वो वेस्टर्न ट्रैगोपान का है.
Robert Whale was now Rab Nawaz. The birds proved to be a savior for this resident of Wales. But this is not just a place for man and birds.
The pheasantry in Dhodial is not just a sanctuary for birds, but for mammals as well. This is Sundar.
Sundar is a notoriously edgy cat. Sundar has been known to play with people through these metallic confines. Sundar was found on the outskirts of Balakot and brought to the pheasantry in a shoebox, only 25 days old. He wasn't too happy at the invasion of his privacy. After the break,
परिंदों का क्या होगा, हमारे जानवरों का क्या होगा?
The conflict is only this, that either you have a pheasantry in that area or you have a university.
There is nothing for shifting.
Finish the pheasantry, to that we want to keep the pheasantry.
one fine evening as the sun retreated and the aviary plunged into darkness, disaster struck.
चीफ के लिए बस कुछ ब्रूटियों का इस्तेमाल मजीद बंदोबस्त करना है।
और कैसे हो? बच्चे ठीक नहीं करेंगे इस दफा
क्यों जी, क्या परेशानी है?
ये एक और आ रहा है, ये लिखने में ये आपकी ये फैसली हालत कर रही है।
क्यों क्यों?
ये अनडायरेक्टेड जो है ये इसकी हुकूमत कुछ और बना है फैसली में।
अच्छा, तो फिर परिंदों का क्या होगा, हमारे जानवरों का क्या होगा?
बेहतर जान से ये ऑर्डर भी हो रहा है जी भैया, और बहुत मैंने यार।
This was the moment that changed everything for Dhodial Peasantry. Their 20 years of hard work was on the line.
Oblivious of their fate, the residents of Dhodial Peasantry continue on their lives bit by bit.
Well, this issue erupted back in 2001 when Hazara University was established at Dhodial. I don't know how this portion of peasantry came in their master planning, and this peasantry is only 20 acres out of more than 200 acres area with the university. And then it came up as an issue that master plan has to be implemented and there can be no deviations, so the peasantry has to go.
This is an important conservation effort. To have a store of these birds in one place near the natural habitats is very important, because if God forbid, and it even happened, I mean the earthquake may have killed all the wildlife. So to have a store in a place like this where you can reintroduce the pheasants back into the wild is very important.
The area behind the pheasantry is cultivated land. Gul Khan is a shy yet proud father of two. He didn't know I was envious of the scene that his home afforded him. Despite the obvious language barrier, Gul Khan insisted on some tea. I was deeply touched by his gesture. He even educated me of a famous eatery, the gourmet chapli kebab.
Dhodial is not just famous for its peasantry and Hazara University, but also for its chapli kebab.
The kebab shop is right across the Hazara University. The Vice Chancellor is a PhD in archaeology.
We think that there is a bigger area. This is Java sheep farm, where only 100 sheep are there, and there are 5,600 canals of land. So we think that we should provide not only a best to the Pakistani universities over here as far as the research in the birds, plants and animals is concerned, but also to the rest of the world, because this is the best.
Pheasants thrive in silent environment. The rapid development of the area over the past 20 years has started to show now.
स्टूडेंट्स जो है ना यूनिवर्सिटी के वो वायलेट करके खेलते रहते हैं ना पेजेंट्री के एरिया में, ज़्यादातर बर्ड्स डिस्टर्ब हो जाते हैं, और डिस्टर्ब हो के तो उनसे ये है कि मैटिंग भी नहीं होता है। कुछ बर्ड्स ये है कि उनको डिस्टर्ब करे ना, वो दूसरे केज में स्केप करे तो वो दूसरे बर्ड्स जो होता है ऑलरेडी उधर, तो वो उसके साथ फाइट करके उसको भी मार देता है।
Pheasants can die in inappropriate habitat.
If the birds are shifted from one place to another, they can die in the process of shifting. The amount of stress they undergo is tremendous, and you cannot compare it with any other stress caused to humans or other living beings. The birds are most sensitive creatures to stress, but when it comes as a policy to do it, then there is no other recourse than to implement the policy of the government.
For pheasants, the breeding season extends from February to late March.
ये नायाब किस्म के परिंदे हैं, इनको यहाँ से दूसरी जगह शिफ्ट करने में कोई नुकसान पहुँचा तो ये हमारे मुल्क के लिए एक आलमी सतह पे भी अलमिया होगा।
Okay, this is the ring-necked. Well, they call it the ring-neck because, as you can see, there's a ring around its neck. The interesting thing about this pheasant is that it breeds normally, which essentially means that it's a good breeder. The ring-necked pheasant is the only pheasant that can court in open spaces. While the ringneck is successful in courting his better half, the lady Amherst is not so lucky. But he still does not give up. Ashiq Ahmed Khan is a special advisor to WWF. He is a renowned environmentalist.
We shouldn't take this as a conflicting issue. We should take this as an opportunity for collaboration between two institutions, the Wildlife Department and the Hazara University, and do not allow the conflict to rise to an extent when something unpleasant happens. A process that has to be followed, because the only thing which is more important from the peasantry perspective is that no bird should die in the transportation process, number one, and then because of the new location. So the birds in a peasantry would normally need two basic things. One, protection from the predators, protection from the poachers, and also the food. One has to first have some kind of facility and which is secured against predators and poachers, and then you start the process of shifting the birds.
But now when there are thousands of people around and we are aiming to go for 20,000, so for research purpose, yes, but for the growth of pheasants, I think it's a little too much.
Yeah, I should have.
Back at the pheasantry, the status of the new location was still unclear. Rab Nawaz recalls the efforts that have gone into the place. When the birds could not fend for themselves, he took up arms for them.
Which was written in my diary back in June '94 was that there were many rats, and rats are a pest for a number of reasons. One is because they eat the food of the pheasants. The second is they spread disease, and they even eat chicks and eat eggs as well. So in England we would have used poison or poison gas to kill them, but here I was scared I'd end up poisoning the staff. So we had to shoot them. And I had an old English air gun and a torch. And we'd go around from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the morning just shooting rats. And it would start off as 2 or 3, then 4 or 5, and sometimes we were shooting 15 per night. Once when the conservator came in, he actually noticed that there's no rat holes. So he asked that, what did you do? And they told him that the Ingrez came and spoke Churmara. So at least he said there's some fight of having this Ingrez here, that he's doing something. He's just not sitting in the office and writing his diary. He could fight a hole.
We have been investigating about this new location like Java Sheep Farm. This place is located at about 10 kilometers to the east of Dhodial. It's a mountainous area with a slightly higher elevation than Dhodial itself. But there are reports that the poultry farms which used to exist in that location experienced bird flu and other diseases, and the entire flocks of poultry were wiped out.
So this is the information center, and this is some of the material which I provided when I came here in '94, '95.
The small room where he lived for almost a year has now been converted into a resource and information center.
Been hunted.
This center has regular recruits who fall in love with these birds at first sight.
This one, the poster. This one.
When Abid Zarif visited the pheasantry for the first time in 2005, he knew little of this unique tale of resilience and survival. A war veteran, Abid has a diverse background. His NGO works for educational empowerment and believes in increasing awareness about nature and conservation.
Director of the Sheep Station Research Center in Java, that has a lot of disadvantages, that location, because there are risks of diseases of the birds and the sheep can be transmitted to each other. There are no crosswinds because the location is surrounded with hills, and there is more danger for different diseases to spread, unlike the present location where with crosswinds there is less danger of diseases.
The conflict is only this, that either you have a peasantry in that area or you have a university.
Peasantry has to go.
Pappu's unlucky streak continued, while Lady Luck smiled upon Rab Nawaz.
She's married. Yeah. After working voluntary for about 3 years, I was offered a job by WF Pakistan, and this was in February '99. So I think in March '99 I got a contract, and within a few hours I asked my friends, please find me a wife, because I have a contract now and I'm getting some money. Permission. Obviously it was a big risk for that family to marry a foreigner, but they came, they sent two spying teams to Aptabad to see, where I was living, how I was living, who I was associated with, and they went around the whole mahalla and they asked, "Hey, koi Angrez hai, ye Musliman hai?" They gave a good response, so they agreed. And in September '99 I got married, and I think the biggest surprise to my parents was that it was an arranged marriage, and they didn't know that. In fact, until the night before the wedding, they didn't realize that I actually didn't know my wife at all. I had met her, and she had met me, and we'd had some kuch baatcheet hai, lekin not like a traditional kind of English or Western marriage where you live together for 3 years. Once they got over that shock, they enjoyed the whole affair. My mother was given a diamond ring, but she still remembers and still wears today that she got a diamond ring. I was getting married, she got the diamond ring. And so I bought her the dress, which of course was rejected because I didn't have a good taste. And but the day itself, mashallah, went off very well.
Rab Nawaz now works in Karachi. The fact that these birds proved to be his savior, he still finds himself visiting the pheasantry where he is kept abreast of all the developments.
4 महीने बाद वो हमने शिफ्ट कर दिया केज में, तो उसमें ये आ गया कि उसने पता नहीं ये वर्म्स खा दिया, तो उसे
ये मनाल है ना, ये digging species है.
जी सर, जी सर.
ये digging है टीम में. जिसकी worms ने खा ले.
You find Monal 9,000 feet above sea level, which essentially means it doesn't come across a lot of Homo sapiens, us. That means it's shy, and that means when we entered the cage, it started running around like a headless chicken. I shouldn't say that. The Himalayan Manal is the very essence of wilderness. Manal has secured a distinct position amongst pheasants due to its prominent build and strong association with local folklore.
One of the most important pheasants, or most colourful pheasants, is Manal. Manal is actually a Nepalese word which means bird of 9 colours, and it's the national bird of Nepal. Pheasant has had many economic implications on mankind. Just one example is the red jungle fowl, which would have been common in Pakistan, but is very common from India all the way across to China. The domestic poultry industry all derive from one species of chicken, that's your red jungle fowl. So that's a very obvious economic, in fact, that's influenced how man eats and how the economy works.
Fried chicken, chicken nuggets, chicken shashlik, chicken tikka, chicken broast, chicken chow mein, chicken corn soup, chicken fried rice, chicken ginger, chicken korma, chicken kadhai. Can you imagine a life if there were no chicken? But Sahab certainly can't. The common poultry that now forms a major bulk of our civilization's food source is a derivative of the common jungle fowl. For centuries, man has fueled his hunger for taste and beauty by hunting this beautiful bird. The NWFP Wildlife Department has gone to enormous lengths to safeguard its natural resources. The pheasantry took 25 years to shape. Malik Mumtaz is not happy at the prospect of shifting the pheasantry, but he has no choice.
So it was decided that the Wildlife Department should prepare and submit a PC-1. Now we have surveyed the area in Jabba Sheep Farm, and we have submitted a proposal to the government for transfer of about 300 canals of land to the Wildlife Department. The day we get the land and the pheasant and the PC-1 is approved, the work on new pheasantry will be started.
It's taken years to set this up to this standard, so you'll be starting from scratch.
I think we should improve their status.
All of the Pakistan species are here, bar one, and that's the Western Tiger Pan.
Well, I have no doubt in the competence of the people in the department.
They may have another land problem.
We should involve them in more research.
Now shifting Dhodial Peasantry from here would mean...
It depends on the Wildlife Department. They should come up with a master plan.
We should expose them to the international researchers.
Like shifting Kew Garden from London.
We want to build something, get off.
They want to go abroad for training, we will send them.
Shifting Eiffel Tower from Paris.
It's better to keep it.
Shifting London Bridge elsewhere.
And let the university grow around it.
Location regardless, whether the pheasantry will flourish is far from certain. Experts are of the opinion that some 8 to 12 million species inhabit Earth. Homo sapiens are just one of the inhabitants of the little explored third planet. Our instincts have always pushed us towards self-preservation. As we relentlessly encroach on nature, we, as people who have an equal stake, are presented with a choice. Leave behind a planet full of life, or a dying one.